what a race, the Italian Grand Prix, Monza. I will tell you this, one of the better races of the year. I keep saying that, but they keep getting better and better and better. And hi everybody, it's Freddie B. Welcome to another edition of Freddie Bz Pathetic Picks for Formula One. Hey, if you don't know, I also do Pathetic Picks for football, and so far I am doing this on the 6th, and last night was the first game of the NFL, and I'll have you know I did win that game, and I did pick that game. So, let's talk about the Italian Grand Prix. Just a quick overview of what I thought, because I know you've watched everybody else on YouTube give you their analysis. A couple of the things that I thought were neat. First of all, the finish was edge of your seat good. Oscar Piastri trying to catch Leclerc, who did a masterful job of saving his tires with a one-stop strategy, was really, really great. First lap, Piastri gets around Norris, who had the pole. Really kind of, put it to him. And I think one of the reasons was it might be a little bit of payback for what Lando did to Oscar back in Hungary. I'm just saying. Back in the old days, Rusty Wallace, who was a NASCAR guy, wrecked Jeff Gordon in Richmond. And he didn't wreck him for what happened last week. He wrecked him for what happened like 4 weeks ago. He goes, if you wreck him because of what happened last week, you're definitely going to get penalized. But after 3 or 4 weeks, they just figure it's one of those racing deals. That's the way NASCAR is. Well, I think Oscar kind of got back with Lando because it was one of those racing deals, because Lando's not willingness, even though he eventually did, giving up the place for Oscar to get that first win. It made Oscar's first win probably a bitter taste in his mouth. I think Oscar's becoming quickly another very, very dry personality, not unlike Kimi Räikkönen, which is great because I really enjoy Kimi Räikkönen. He's one of my favorites, and Oscar's quickly becoming one of those also. P10 for Magnussen. Same thing on a one-stop strategy. Did a good thing with that. He got into a wreck with Pierre Gasly early. Even Gasly said he didn't deserve, it was a racing deal, and he didn't deserve the penalty. But that puts Magnussen out for the upcoming race in Baku, which I'll talk about in another video. I might touch on it a bit here today. And it puts Oliver Behrman in the Haas car for at least the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. So Kevin has got a one-race suspension for having 12 points on his license. Hulkenberg also got a 10-second penalty for Haas and got 2 points on his license with an incident in the race. But I gotta say that both Haas cars, when they're not wrecking each other, are actually pretty competitive. They're doing well. So let's look at who's where and what since we've got a break. According to Formula One, there's really only one seat left, but I think there's more than one seat left because Red Bull is going to have seats and they're going to have some musical chairs. But according to Formula One, only the Audi Sauber Kick-Sauber second seat is available. And I'll tell you who I think ought to have the seat. There's a lot of guys that everybody's looking at, but I don't know exactly if Binotto is Matteo Binotto, who he's going to listen to. Anyway. So, right now, at Mercedes, you've got, obviously, Russell and Lewis. And for next year, you're keeping Russell. And we got Kimi Antonelli, who wrecked in his FP1 debut. But no worries, he was fairly quick. We'll see how it goes. He'll have a couple more FP1s, I believe, through this year, which will help him. And then, I don't know if there's any pressure. The pressure's not going to be on Antonelli like the pressure was like on Logan Sargent to immediately do well. Or some of these other guys. So I think Mercedes, now that they've got really a car that can compete for wins and championships, their pressure might ink up a little bit. But I think this year in 2025, it's going to be a getting to know you year, getting to know you, and then 2026 we will see. Red Bull's got Max and Checo right now, and next year they got Max, and I don't know where Checo's going to be. I think that is one seat that is going to change for sure in 2025. And then McLaren has Lando and Oscar, and they're set for next year. They both have contracts. I think in 2026, I think their contracts are up. It'll be interesting to see who McLaren keeps. They obviously, and if I were Oscar, I don't know, well, you want to win races. But right now, if you can get the World Championship for Lando, why don't you do that? Do everything you can, as long as you're doing yourself some good also. But if you can help Lando get that World Championship, that would be an amazing goal. And then, you know what? You say, okay, now it's my turn. And then maybe McLaren would do that. Because Zach Brown, if you have drivers of equal ability, and you have these papaya rules, okay, well, it looks like Lando's got the edge right now. So let's stay with it and go after the championship, go after Max and see what happens. And then next year, let papaya rules and see who emerges as the dominant guy, and then the other one falls in line. I don't know if that's a good strategy, but I guarantee you, at least next year, McLaren's set. Ferrari has Leclerc and Carlos Sainz. Sainz is going to Williams. Ferrari next year has got Lewis Hamilton, 7-time world championship, and Charles Leclerc, last league's winner, by the way, which I did call. That's 2 weeks in a row I've called the winner. Thank you very much. Listen to Freddie Bz Pathetic Picks. You might learn something. Then, and these are kind of going in what I think are maybe also the strength of the teams. So those are my top 4 teams. McLaren, Red Bull, Mercedes, and Ferrari in that order, although I think you could throw a blanket over Mercedes and Ferrari. Next up, I think Aston Martin is still there. They've got Alonso and Stroll. Next year, they got Alonso and Stroll. It might be Stroll's last year. You've got Adrian Newey coming, I think. As of today on the 6th, we don't know. But I think Adrian Newey is probably going to go to Aston Martin. It's right down the street from his house. He gets a huge contract. It's a British automobile manufacturer. There's a lot of things that line up. It checks a lot of boxes for Adrian Newey. And if he does that, I would suspect that Alonso will stay and they'll go after somebody big. Maybe Lando Norris or Piastri in 2026 to take that car. Next you got, I don't know if these are the right orders, but I'm going to put Haas as 6 with Nico and Kevin Magnussen. And next year they got 2 brand new drivers. They've got Ocon coming and Oliver Behrman. Now Behrman's going to race this weekend for Magnussen or next weekend in Baku. And we'll see how that does. Esteban. I'm going to learn more about it. To me, he's an enigma. But we'll see. I don't know if he's going to play well with a young driver, but that's who Haas has got, and I am a Haas fan. So, Alpine's got currently Ocon and Gasly. Gasly's going to stay next year. And then they got Jack Doohan, whose dad was a motorcycle racer. Jack, Australia. It's going to be great for Australia to have a lot of Australians on the grid, which is neat, because if you keep Ricardo and Doohan and Oscar Piastri, that's 3. That's not bad for a country that only has like 30 million people. Huge continent, small population. Kind of like Canada, if we can say that. Red Bull, okay, V-Carb, whatever you want to call them. Yuki and Daniel Ricciardo right now. Yuki is staying next year. I'll tell you what, if he does the last 8 races and does like he did the first 8 races, maybe he goes to Red Bull. But I think Checo probably leaves. Maybe Daniel moves up, and then maybe they slip Liam Lawson in there. So maybe Liam Lawson becomes that Red Bull driver. And then maybe, if they're smart, and then think about this, Audi, Sauber, maybe get Checo. I mean, he obviously knows what a winning team looks like. He's a winning driver. You got Checo and Hülkenberg. You have the makings of a pretty good team right there. Just the thought from Freddie B. Williams is going to have Alex Albon, hottest girlfriend on the paddock. And then they have Colapinto for the last 9 races. They're going to bring Slanks in. Colapinto's going to do a good job. Probably go back to F2. But he's probably going to get more rides in the future. So I wish him well, and I hope he did well. He did P12, which was great, where Albon got a 9th place, which is points, and Colapinto got the car home in P12 and deported himself very well in his first Grand Prix. So I'm going to give him lots of credit there. And then finally, you got Kick Sauber. And right now, they've got, Valtteri Bottas and Zhou Guanyu. Zhou's going away. If it were me, I would keep Bottas. I like him. But they're looking at a lot of people, even Theo Porcher and a couple other guys. It's going to be an interesting call on Matteo Binotto's to pick who he wants there. I think you get a lot of experience with Bottas, and that team's going to need some experience to help develop that car. It's, again, from what I understand, and maybe it's just me, it's has a lot to do with how long the contract. So maybe they offer Bottas a contract, but he wants a longer deal or a bigger commitment. So that's it. That's what's happening in Formula One this week. We'll come back in about 3 or 4 days. We'll talk about Baku, which is a neat street course. I hate that one little section they have, though, where it's single file. But other than that, pretty good race. Checo should do well there. He's won there before, but who knows? Anyway, thanks for listening. If you like football, I got Freddie Bz Pathetic Picks. Again, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that channel. Hit that bell so you get notified when I put other videos up and all that good stuff. I appreciate you watching. Have a great day.